Hey, everybody, welcome to the Tesla Life episode. Oh, I have to look and see. Is it episode 57? It is episode 57 for June 20th, 2018. My name is Russell Frost. I am your host for this evening's adventure into Tesla Mania. Along with me is my wingman on this show, the man in black, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. And we must have had the memo go out about the free donuts and coffee because we've got a ton of other people with us here tonight. So let's get to the panel because that's going to probably take half the show.
Good point. Good point. Did you say free donuts and coffee? Free
donuts and coffee, and that'll come up in the show later on.
Oh, man. Well, next to him, the man in the Dapper's lilac dress shirt.
I am Dapper.
Is our man in Chicago. I call him Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. I'll have to change clothes from now on. This is what I wore to work today.
Why do you say that, Tony?
Well, I don't know. Wait, hold on.
You don't think being described as dapper is a bad thing, do you?
I didn't turn on that light, so now I have a little more light.
Now, actually, some colors are rendering properly.
Look at that.
Yeah. I thought you were going to apply some kind of filter to change the color of your shirt. That would have
been cool. Well, the man in the very summery yellow shirt is our man in the Pacific Northwest. We call him Mr. Whoa, that's a darn fine shirt, sir.
For this electric program, I thought that was the right one to wear.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Nice.
This voltage will kill you, and it will hurt the whole time we're talking. One of my favorite warning signs, Mr. Patrick Connor.
Hello. I would like to point out that this is the first time on this show that I think a majority of the people on here are Tesla owners.
Interesting.
Cool. Yeah, over the threshold.
Interestingly enough, that was a question that showed up on the channel on YouTube in the last few days. They had asked how many Model 3 owners there were, and I think as of at least right now, just Mark.
Just one.
Right.
Yep. We have an S, 2 X's, and a 3.
Right. Yep. And yeah, Evans had I think he got like a S number -5. Didn't you get one of the prehistoric ones?
Pretty early. 1267. So
there you go. Yeah. Really early.
Wow.
Yeah, Elon put it together himself, actually.
That's right. The last one Martin Eberhart made before they kicked him out.
Now, do Patrick or are we allowed to ask? I mean, do either one of you have a 3 on order?
I do. Yep, and I'm waiting for the dual motor.
Okay. Oh, that's right. Dual motor. And Evan.
So, on order, you have a reservation, or you've actually put your order in?
Oh, I have a reservation, and I've been invited to configure, but only for the first production. And so, dual motor is not an option for me yet. So I'm waiting for that.
Right. So I'm in the same boat, and
I also want tan seat. But that's
interesting.
Yeah, that's going to be a while, I think.
Yeah, and I want tan arms, but you don't see me complaining.
Except you never see the sun.
And you reflect it back so the sun goes, geez, dude, please.
Tone it down.
Yeah. The sun itself squints.
No, I'm in the same boat as Patrick. I have a reservation. I've been invited to configure, but there's options that you can click telling them, when you prefer to take delivery and if you want dual motor and those sorts of things. And so I've clicked for like November delivery and dual motors. And I'm hoping by then someone will bestow thousands of dollars upon me that will let me afford to actually place the order.
Says the man who just got back from visiting another continent.
And hence I have no freaking money.
And you left it all there.
There. Well, thank you for stimulating someone else's economy. That man is Dr. Evan Fusco.
Hey, everybody. Pig Suey, go Hogs. Just beat Texas Tech 7-4 and on their second round game of the College World Series.
Of hockey, right?
Go sports ball.
Oh, sports ball. Yeah. What sport is that, Evan? Is that
College World Series? Baseball?
It's baseball.
Baseball.
Okay, wait. The World Series, it's June.
But it's the College World Series, and it's always in June.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I thought the
Sports
World
ball.
Series was about poker.
Mhm. It should be.
Right. If they'd bothered to trademark it like the NFL people did, then you wouldn't even be able to say that.
That's right. Super Bowl, you can't touch that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just got sued.
Yeah.
Crap, I meant the big game. I take it back. Sorry.
Yeah. He meant the superb owl. That's what he meant. The superb owl.
Yes.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of superb owls, I get to start off with this week's first story. Yay! You know, it's because Mark works hard enough on this show, putting all the news together, getting us all dressed, making sure we show up on time. You know, so
He's a really badass when it comes to that.
he is. Last week, our friends at Electrek reported that Elon Musk's Boring Company won the bid to build a loop transit system in Chicago. And by loop transit system, we're talking about a transit system that the Boring Company will dig a tunnel from downtown Chicago to O'Hare Airport, everyone's favorite Midwestern mega hub. The Boring Company is talking about reducing the travel time to about 12 minutes in each direction, which is significantly less. I don't think you can really even get to baggage in O'Hare in 12 minutes, much less get to actually leave the airport and get into downtown Chicago. So that should be quite a feat. And I'm going to leave it there for now.
I have a picture of where his
Oh, look at that. The Chicago guy is
Yeah.
on point.
Yeah. Why isn't this Tony's story, Mr. Chicago? Yeah. Or
Yeah,
What do you call
I
it?
stole it from him. I got here
Yeah.
before he did.
So I realize, he's saying 12 minutes, whatever. I mean, it's like 18 miles. And it's going to cost, he says, $1 billion, and people will say, yeah, you can't do that for that. But I'll tell you what, I can ride the Metra from the Loop, which is down here. All the
Wait,
way
it's
out.
actually called the Loop?
The reason it's
Yes.
called the Loop, is that it literally is a loop of track that goes around like this.
You've never heard of the loop, Patrick?
Well, okay. The reason I say that is because initially Elon's idea was Hyperloop. And now this is going to be a loop, not a Hyperloop, because Hyperloop is where they evacuate the tunnel and it's in a vacuum. This one is not in a vacuum, so they're just calling it Loop to distinguish it from the Hyperloop.
Well, that's
So-
just stupid
so
because
now-
Chicago
Now Elon's
has no
loop is going to go to the Chicago Loop. So we
Yeah.
got loop within loops.
right.
It's
Yeah, I mean, you can see where the M's are, the Metro stops. There's stop, stop, stop. I mean, this is
Yep.
the here the loop.
So,
So anyway,
is it an elevated
um,
train?
yeah, it's the L.
Okay.
So you hop on the train, and 59 minutes, it deposits you to one of many stops. I just picked Terminal 2, but if I can go to like that one or like here, it pulls in. So guess what? That option to take a train from downtown to O'Hare kind of already exists.
Yeah, but that looks like it's an hour.
Yeah,
About
Tony,
40
I think you need to
45
change
minutes.
yeah, there we go. 44 minutes.
Oh, okay.
And it
It's
goes
an hour
every
to drive.
10 minutes
Yeah.
instead of every 30 seconds.
Okay, so let's just I'm gonna stop screen sharing here. So let's just be clear on something. The city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, I don't know if any federal is going to kick in for this, and then each passenger, we are going to pay how much money to shed 30 to 40 minutes off the travel time from the Loop to O'Hare?
Allegedly.
Allegedly.
12 minutes of Elon time.
Yeah.
Which might mean 30 minutes.
Right.
And will
I mean-
and then the question is, will it run every 10 minutes like the others? Because if it only runs every 30 minutes, it's still going to be 40 minutes between trains or loops.
So
or whatever.
the Boring Company thing is supposed to have be leaving every 30 seconds.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, you'll get in a modified Model X. Is that the right?
Yeah, where is it in the
'Cause,
article? They
I
talk
mean,
about it.
30
Yeah.
seconds is not even really time. I mean,
You
get
couldn't
out
the
out
people-
now.
you can't get the people on the train in 30 seconds.
Right. Suddenly
Well,
the trains are all backed up.
It's not a train. It's one car, and it only holds 16 passengers, and it says as frequently as every 30 seconds.
As frequently as.
Which, like, a lot.
I've
Of
already made an
Elon's
Elon
claim.
time joke.
I was just going to say, right, like a lot of Elon's claims, the math is weird.
Of course, I guess if
Fuzzy.
you think about it like a Disney ride, like when where they kind of back up and you load people on and they stack up and then one takes off while the other's loading, and like how they kind of chain them, Spaceship Earth, or what's another one, the Buzz Lightyear ride or something like
You're
that.
like a Disney expert, and you're fumbling for this?
Wasn't
Haunted
planning
Mansion. They don't even stop. They just slow down, and you have to jump in.
Yeah.
Yeah, the door opens and you must jump in. Yes. And you got people bouncing off the side of the thing and everything. It's just a mess. Yes.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And let's be clear. Let me get one more dig in here. Rahm Emanuel, probably America's most crooked mayor. Is that unreasonable thing to throw at him?
Wow. I don't know. Have you been
yeah.
to New Orleans?
Really? Come on. Who competes on his scale, though?
I mean, he's good at what he does. It's just that what he does is mostly illegal.
Yeah, it's mostly right. He's very efficient at being horrible.
I heard it. You don't have to worry, Tony, that because they're going to fund this entire project off the red light cameras in Chicago.
Well played.
Oh, wow. Nicely done, sir.
Yeah.
Nicely done. The consensus here is surprisingly, am I hearing negative comments from everyone but Patrick?
You are from me.
Skepticism, at least.
And what, because
is this not just a subway on a smaller scale? Smaller cars,
Yes.
underground. It's going to push them out at different speeds or different intervals. But this is basically a subway with smaller cars.
Yes.
And as
And
Tony
faster.
mentions, they have it's faster. I give it that. And as Tony mentioned, they have a system now that runs a train every 44 minutes to Chicago from downtown to O'Hare. Is this going to be solving anything, I guess, is the question. Tony, is there a huge congestion on the train line? Can you get seats all the time? Is there issues with amounts of people going or coming?
no. I mean, that's no.
Okay. I disagree.
Why?
The train is not very comfortable. It's not particularly clean. It's noisy. It makes multiple stops. It's not an ideal choice. And I think because the amount of time it takes, your trade-off, other than a little bit of cost savings, is to take an Uber or a taxi for that run, and which is much more convenient and more comfortable and air conditioned and all that. And sometimes they are crowded and there's standing room only. I've done that train a couple times, and so it's not ideal. And if you've got an option that where busy businessmen want to get to where they're going quickly, I think there would be some demand for that, and probably would reduce the burden on automobiles running that same route, because there are a lot of taxis and Ubers that run the O'Hare to downtown route because people don't want to take the train.
All right. So what you're saying is it's an 18-mile Concorde.
Yeah, essentially.
It's for rich people who want to get from one place to another faster.
Is it going to be expensive?
I don't think it's going to be expensive. They talked about it being $1 a ride or something.
Yeah.
Okay, then it's cheaper than the train and faster, so it's going to be crowded, is what you just said.
Well, it depends if
Why
they
would
can
you make
run
it great?
car. It depends on the frequency that they can run those cars.
Yeah. So we can move on to another story, because I think everybody made some nice points, both pro and con. And like many things, this project is a little vague. A lot of the stats, because I think the $1 a ride thing, wasn't that talking about Los Angeles, not talking about Chicago?
Yeah, I don't think they had a specific.
Yeah.
I thought it was in general. They were talking about.
It was in general. It was going to be very, very cheap. Elon's thing was going to be very, very cheap. So it wouldn't even make sense. I mean, they'd have to charge more than that, whether or not it costs more than that or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was kind of ridiculous to even be quoting a price, and they've never actually done a project to know what problems they're going to run into and what the real costs will be.
Sure. But let's say even if it was the same price as a taxi, I mean, it's 10 minutes and you don't have to sit in traffic. I mean, who would not jump on that in a heartbeat? But yeah, I think there's a lot of questions. I don't think the current situation with the L is ideal. But yeah, there's a cost benefit factor and the whole deal. But you know, if it magically came to fruition and was reasonably priced, man, I think it would be awesome. Because that O'Hare route is a nightmare.
Okay, I'm just gonna. I just think you're hyperbolic because I ride the train all the time. Is it ever crowded? Sure, sometimes. Is it always crowded? No, not all the time. I just think that there are other existing mass transit things that exist. I also want to point out that
you should run for mayor.
I know.
Oh, God, please, anyone run for mayor.
Chicago geologically is not stable ground. So digging underground in and under Chicago could be a bit of a problem. It's not like digging through rock. It's not stable.
It's limestone, isn't it?
It's
something that's not stable. I don't know.
It's something that's not stable. Yeah.
I'll feed that ground to you until I can research it.
I can try to look that up. But
no.
But Chicago, the lakefront wasn't always the lakefront. I mean, they literally took the burnt out shell of the burnt Chicago and pushed it into the lake, covered it with dirt, and said, look, lakefront.
Right.
I mean, literally, that's what Chicago is.
Right.
Yeah, most metropolitan cities on water.
Yeah, lots of places have reclaimed land.
San Francisco.
Unstable.
Yeah.
But I don't know where the water table is. I mean, I'm not arguing with you, Tony. I don't know what the
I know where the water table in Chicago is. It's right where the lake is.
I got nothing. Hey, let's go to Mark for the next story before we beat this horse way past death.
Yeah. Well, on to some Tesla news. There's a UK research group decided to do some testing with Autopilot and how it could possibly, how it works and what some of the limitations were with it. And I think Tony is going to get some video queued up so we can see the first run here. But what they were basically doing is trying some different scenarios to see how the car would perform when it was on its own, when it was behind a car, when there was a car stopped ahead. And they came up with some interesting video. And again, you know, we weren't there. We don't know exactly how they were operating. But the test video appears to show a car, the Tesla following a car, and then a car stopped in front of the first car. And when the middle car moved out of the way rapidly, the Autopilot car did not stop in time. There was some evidence of it slowing down, but it obviously didn't stop quick enough, and it drove through the papier-mâché car, showing that it had some issue in knowing it was there or being able to know it was there quick enough.
I feel that this is not the video I saw before because I'm trying to find the first run where it goes around it. Yeah, I thought there was something else. Did that license plate say Thich Nhat Hanh?
I
didn't catch that. No.
Yeah, that was
But this research group was running through this scenario a couple of times, and they did run into this issue. I don't know if there's like, we all know that you are supposed to be obviously paying attention to the car when it's on autopilot. You're supposed to be controlling the vehicle at all times, hands on the wheel, understanding that something could go awry. It's an assist feature. It's not a full autopilot as its name is. But I don't know. I just wanted to throw it out to the other panelists. And if they had seen the video, if they kind of, especially the ones that have autopilot, Patrick and Evan, and what they thought of it.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good video. I wish that they would have had other cars with lane keeping and similar systems, Volvo and Cadillac Super Cruise, to compare them, because my understanding is that this is a common problem, that if there's a stationary object and you're following a car and then the car in front of you moves away at the last minute, that the car can't detect the stationary object as it would have if you were coming up to it or as if it were moving. And so that this, if you have one of those systems, you should know its limitations. I really like in this article, they made a point to say either you are driving and maybe you're assisted, or you're not driving and it's fully automated. And there's a huge difference. And all the systems that we have today are driver assist, which gets to your point, Mark. The driver is supposed to be paying attention, and the one who's responsible, there's no just turn it on and take a nap or browse your phone. You have to be driving.
Right. And yeah, I think we talked about this last week on the What Drives Us show, and I said I have a friend that this happened to. Long before autopilot was ever a thing, he was just kind of lulled into following the car in front of him, and then the car in front of him veered around an object. It was a stopped truck. And before he had any idea why the car was veering or what was going on, he had already hit the truck. So
right.
This is a common situation for people. So to think that now, cars are going to magically resolve it, and maybe they should. This is one more step for them to strive for. Right.
I totally agree. It'd be nice if they didn't have this limitation. At some point, they'll figure it out and work around it. But right now, this is what we have. And if you're using it, you should be aware of its limitations. The things that where I really pay attention if I'm in autopilot is where lanes merge or lanes diverge, or you have a core point, and when the car in front of you changes lanes. Those are the three most important times when you need to be paying attention, because autopilot might misbehave and you need to be ready to take over.
And you have to pay attention all the time.
Yeah. They're still relative, but yes, I agree. I said the most. I didn't say at any point you don't pay attention, but those are when I'm
right. All right, if you're going down the interstate at midnight in Kansas, your level of alertness to vehicles coming at you from the sides and rear are very, very different than if you're in a very busy South African situation with crazy drivers cutting in and out and stopping suddenly in front of you. So you change the way that you assess the risk around you.
Did Kansas lead into the rains of Africa? Is that
we did hear that song play while we were there.
Did you take your little dog Toto too?
Yes.
Oh, and your little dog. I got nothing.
I think the realization of what's happening, if they look at the data and they realize what's causing it, I think that the human would have picked up what was happening faster and at least would have swerved and maybe had a deflecting blow instead of a head-on collision. I mean, but
if your options are to sideswipe a moving car next to you or rear end a stopped car, they both suck. But I'm going to go with the first one, not hit a stationary object.
Right, and even in this case, there was no car around it. So every other angle was open.
Yeah, that situation is one of the most dangerous in driving, period. When
Yes.
you've got a vehicle you can't see past, you're maybe following them a little too closely. They suddenly veer off and there's a stop vehicle in front of you. Your reaction time is so different than the vehicle that was in front of you. And yeah, you've got to make that decision. Do you drive another car into the wall or off the side of the road, or I mean, it's a reflex, and you're probably going to crash one way or the other.
Yeah, wasn't there a story earlier this year? I think there was someone was driving and their car started decelerating for no reason that they understood, and then the car in front of them came to a complete stop, and it turned out that the car had detected that the car 2 cars up.
It was us. It was a Tesla story.
Yeah.
It was in Europe. Yep.
I shared that one on our Facebook page because instead it was nice to actually see, hey, look, the system did something great, something that I wouldn't have done because I didn't see it. There was no way for me to see it. The car saw it by bouncing the radar and off under the car in front of it and could see 2 cars ahead. And when that car 2 cars ahead started slowing down, the Tesla started slowing down. The guy in the middle didn't realize what was going on until the last second. And instead of being a 3-car pileup, there was no car pileup.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have happened with a completely stopped vehicle in front.
Right.
And that's what this video was kind of demonstrating.
Well, one of the things,
Yeah, so it has limitations and it has advantages.
Right.
And you should know them.
Well, yeah. The next story has nothing to do with accidents. All of it was intentional, even the Timbits.
Even the Timbits. Yes, indeed. Just recently in Toronto, last Saturday, as everyone here knows, there was a large amount of Model 3s that were delivered to the Ontario market. And
Timmy's.
At least half of them had Timbits delivered in the cars. No, the cars decided to have a meetup. The Model 3 Club here in Ontario decided to host a meetup on the Saturday, and we had over 100 vehicles show up at the Vaughan Mills Mall Supercharger in Toronto, or on the outskirts of Toronto. And mall management was not aware this was going to happen.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, partway into the night, they definitely knew something was going on.
So we can call this like a Tesla flash mob, not a.
That's right. That's right. So there was the mall closed, I believe, at 9 p.m. The meet started at 8 p.m. And of course, when the mall let out and people were trying to get home, there might have been a small traffic jam trying to leave the mall parking lot. So we had at least 100 Model 3 show up, and S's and X's. And of course, all the different other EVs were there. We had Leafs, we had Kia Souls, we had Volts, we had it all. All came out to see who had got a car and what color it was and what wheels they got. And the crowd had a great time discussing different, issues, questions, answers, solutions to problems that some have and some don't. So it was a great meetup. Lots of people to discuss the new arrival of the cars, and it was great to see in person. I was happy to be there and catch a glimpse of this, and brought mine along as well. So had a great time.
Did you let anybody touch your car?
No.
I didn't think so.
One guy got close, and I made the car a remote beep at him. So
yeah, exactly.
That backed him off.
Back off, jerk.
That backed him off. There's Trevor in the photo. He's the one that was organizing, and we both videoed each other, videoing the actual event. So that was kind of cool.
So how was this advertised? Was it just through the?
It was strictly through the Model 3 Owners Club website, Facebook page, and Twitter feed. And then we here at the Tesla Life, we're happy to push it along through our media as well. So it was got out there basically through social media.
Probably accounted for at least 99% of the people that were there was the Tesla Life.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And they were. they were parked everywhere, obviously, and the double parking was concerning to the mall. And the security guy was, I think he lost some hair that evening as he tried to figure out, first of all, what was going on and how to better direct people either away from this situation or keep the party animals in check. So it was a fun evening.
I hate to like be so like on form, but what's the deal with the guy in the Nissan Leaf and the Tim Hortons stuff?
Well, the Model 3 Owners Club had a sponsor that supplied the Tim Hortons donuts and coffee, and the one of the people in the Model 3 Owners Club, in fact, Ken Bukar, who was on our show, he is the one that owns the Leaf. So he of course brought his Leaf to the meetup as well, and that was fine. Everybody liked to see the new Leaf as well, and gave other people who didn't have a car some different options to look at. So we were happy to see all the different EVs that showed up. It certainly wasn't strictly a Tesla event, although the vast majority of people there did have Teslas.
Did the Leaf have antique plates?
Did the Leaf have antique? I'm not getting it. It's just flying right over my head.
Maybe it's a U.S. thing, but really, really, really old cars in the U.S. can apply for
antique license points. Yeah,
that is an antique vehicle.
It was a new Leaf, though.
It's a 2018 Leaf.
Yeah.
Right, but technologically.
No. Come on now.
Oh, God,
this is the Tesla life, not the hate on everybody else.
I'm digging here. I'm just trying.
Wow. Okay, a little dig at the Leaf, maybe, but just because he had donuts, you know?
Yeah, we were happy to see him. He had donuts.
Okay, fair enough.
Our next story doesn't involve a happy meeting. It doesn't involve Tim Hortons. It doesn't involve donuts in the trunk of a Leaf. It involves something a little bit different. Interestingly enough, on Sunday night, just shy of midnight, Elon sent one of his "To Everyone at Tesla" emails, and I don't know, let me read it. Let's just read the email, and that will intro the story. How's that? 11:57 p.m., June 17th, to everybody. Subject, some concerning news. This is me reading Elon's email. I was dismayed to learn this weekend about a Tesla employee who had conducted quite extensive and damaging sabotage to our operations. This included making direct code changes to the Tesla manufacturing operating system under false usernames and exporting large amounts of highly sensitive Tesla data to unknown third parties. The full extent of his actions are not yet clear, but what he has admitted so far is pretty bad. His stated motivation is that he wanted a promotion that he did not receive. In light of these actions, not promoted. Which, honestly, is that Ambien or red wine or okay?
Both.
Back to Elon's email. However, there may be considerably more to this situation than meets the eye. So the investigation will continue in depth this week. We need to figure out if he was acting alone or with others at Tesla, and if he was working with any outside organizations. As you know, there are a long list of organizations that want Tesla to die. These include Wall Street short sellers who have already lost billions of dollars and stand to lose a lot more. Then there are the oil and gas companies, the wealthiest industry in the world. They don't love Tesla. They don't love the idea of Tesla advancing the progress of solar power and electric cars. Don't want to blow your mind, but rumor has it that these companies are sometimes not super nice. Then there are the multitude of big gas / diesel car company competitors. If they're so willing to cheat, if they're willing to cheat so much about emissions, maybe they're willing to cheat in other ways.
So if he would have stopped after,
like really just stop
this first sentence in the second paragraph, like that would have been informative and fine.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Why not?
Because you don't send an email to 27,000 people at 11:57 p.m. on a Sunday night from the CEO ranting about sabotage.
At that point, it wasn't a rant. It was an informative.
It's not a rant.
Not again. If you stop after the first sentence of the second paragraph, then it's informative. You've let people know that there's been an incident, and you're done. The rest of it, yes, is ranting, crazy man shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. He took an Ambien. He started writing. Took some wine. Kept writing.
I honestly don't understand the need for the CEO of a company to email every employee of his about this. I just don't. I'm not saying I'm not saying that transparency is bad, because that's something that Tesla sorely lacks. What I'm saying is this is kind of cray cray.
I agree. It would have been better if he stopped before he put on the tinfoil hat. But let me take the other side of that. Tesla is a mission-driven company. There are people that don't want to see them succeed. And an email like this could really motivate people that believe in their mission and know that they have enemies and know that there are people trying to stop them. And if they don't work hard, they will be crushed.
It could
be very effective.
Rally the troop kind of thing, like Patrick's saying. Yeah. Now, if that wasn't enough, Elon did actually follow it up with an actual video. I think this. Okay, so there they are trying to catch the guy, right?
You realize now we're going to have to pay royalties, okay?
Oh, was that?
Just saying.
Right. Yeah.
I'm taking that off there.
Okay.
I thought you were going to go to the what was it, Naked Gun, where they have the conspiracy room with how they're stopping solar electric cars.
So here, Nathan Wind as Elon.
So the other interesting side to this is that Tesla today filed suit in the state of Nevada, if I'm not mistaken, which is interesting, against against a person whose name I don't recall correctly. I believe it was Martin Tripp, for this alleged sabotage.
I didn't see they actually put out his name.
Yeah, they
did. They have released his name.
Oh,
they did.
It was part of the lawsuit.
Right.
And I think the reason it's in Nevada is that he was a Gigafactory employee, not a Fremont employee.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay. Thank you, Patrick. And was there? I looked everywhere. Was there any indication as to why this is a civil lawsuit and not a criminal action?
I don't know. Maybe there's no reason they couldn't do both.
Absolutely, yes, that is absolutely true. Yep. Although generally the criminal action comes first, and then the civil action. I just thought it was interesting that they went for the civil action first. And, the other thing that I discussed with another person this morning was that maybe the guy didn't break any laws.
Oh, I think appropriating trade secrets is always going to be a problem.
I would think, yes.
If he transferred it to a third party, then he's broken his NDA. And if he's selling it for money, he's definitely there. I don't know that I won't say he's broken a law, because I don't do that, but it's certainly things that look bad.
I'm wondering if in criminal cases, if Tesla might be required to reveal more things than they would necessarily have to in a civil.
Right. What's the discovery?
That they may have. Right. That they would have more exposure in a criminal situation like that. So there are probably a lot of reasons that
they would certainly have to let police investigators into their facilities and show them what happened.
Yeah.
Which they may be reticent to do.
Yeah.
Do you think Elon canceled his reservation?
No, it's still there. He just went to the back of the line.
Because we need the numbers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He wanted tan interior anyways. It was going to be a while.
Patrick, good news.
Me. All right, cool. One out of in front of me. Yes. I'm one more closer now.
That might be the show title. Tan interior. Something about tan interiors. I don't know.
Which is a good time.
I look to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a good time to remind the chat room. Throw us your
show titles, please.
Yeah.
I don't. I think, Patrick, your point about rallying the troops is interesting. I mean, Tesla's certainly a very mission, as you said, driven company. That permeates every level. But I don't know. I'm still wondering about 11:57 p.m. on a Sunday night. Your phone goes ding, and you go, "What the hell?
So
What the hell?"
So James Crockford in the chat room says, gives a quote from Martin Tripp, says, "I am being singled out for being a whistleblower. I didn't hack into system. The data I was collecting was so severe, I had to go to the media."
Oh, so
interesting.
whistleblower versus
So possibly someone wanted to get out ahead of public declarations like that and have their own side of the story.
Yep.
We're not going to know for a while.
Yeah. So what whistle is he blowing here?
Safety data he could get out of the manufacturing operating system. It's not going to have who got injured or how they were injured. So we'll see. Hopefully we'll learn a lot more about this.
Yeah, and for all we know, that's the alleged defendant's lawyer coaching him to say that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I don't want to say that Elon's less likely to be truthful here than the other whatever. But there it is. That's life with Elon. Getting those emails at 11:57 p.m. on a Sunday, just so you know your company's been sabotaged.
They did use sabotage when they revealed the Roadster.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. All part of the marketing.
Yeah.
And now it goes full circle.
Elon presaged his own crime. It was like he knew it was coming. He really does see the future.
Wait, I do think this. Okay, so this, it turns out this was the data that was.
Stop.
See right there.
That
was the Tesla, the Hollywood Tesla that
that spontaneously combusted.
Yeah, that was the video right there.
You know what? It looks like I skipped a story, Mark.
That was about the Boring Company.
About the Boring Company.
It was about a follow-up.
Yeah,
I thought you skipped it on purpose because we beat it to death.
Just a quick mention. There was an analyst that thought about the building of the Chicago Loop and said that if Tesla or if the Boring Company was to pull it off using Tesla machinery, that they would expect that the Boring Company would be worth $16 billion at the end of successful deployment of Chicago Loop.
Wow.
So not bad for a side thought that Elon Musk had during a traffic jam one day in LA. Now, obviously, this is just one analyst, but it was interesting that they came up with a $16 billion after a possible $1 billion build of a underground 18-mile loop. But I just thought it was worth mentioning that
I wonder where that figure comes from.
Yeah,
I guess just a wild ass.
They said in the article that we've linked to that they were they examined the channel and some other tunneling projects and kind of hooked up values from those successful projects and extrapolated that into their numbers. So
they're not going to be worth $16 billion at $1 a ride, though.
No. That's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's silly. I'm sorry. That's silly on the face of it anyway.
Right.
Yeah. I wonder, did anybody look this analyst up on Tip Ranks? I wonder where he falls.
I did not look him up. His name is published in the article, but I did not look him up as to what he is.
Someone in the chat room, go get that for us.
And our next story is Patrick. With his connections with cars with cords, did a little write-up about how rockets could be used in the next-gen Roadster. And I'm not going to point anybody out from last week that said this was crazy talk. But Patrick, go ahead and let us know what you found.
It was me. I said it was crazy talk, and I'll be happy to defend that against Mr. Connor.
Oh, yeah. So for all of you guys that were watching last week, I've talked about this before. Most of the stories I write is when Russell says something and I say, that's not right. And then I go off and I research and I try to prove it. And I try to put evidence there. Yeah. You are my best source, my muse. You're my inspiration.
I am your muse. Wow, I'm almost touched by that.
Yeah. You guys feel free in the chat room to use that as part of the title somehow.
Oh my.
Patrick, my
So,
muse.
Yeah, Russell said that
Russell
the
I
rocket
went out on a
thrusters
limb. I
on the
said, this is
Roadster were
bullshit.
not going to happen.
Yes. this is bullshit.
Total BS. And if you're thinking, Batmobile style with them propelling the car down the road, I absolutely agree with you. But I think Tesla has something more clever and interesting in mind. So I started looking at some of their patents. One of the patents they have is for cooling, and specifically cooling an electric motor and high voltage electronics with compressed air. By releasing the air, you get the same kind of effect you get from a spray air can, how it gets cold. And so you can have that air bleed as a cooling system. And it doesn't, the nice thing about that is it happens quickly, and so does acceleration. And it's not something that is sustained, but if you're just doing fast takeoffs, then you get that cooling that you need. You can refill the tank slowly until the next time you need to use it. So it's not going to use a ton of your battery power to run the compressor to pump that tank back up. And then the other part of it is that once you are doing this, you are expelling the air. And if you can't use it for direct thrust, what could you use it for? You could use it for downforce. So if you have it over the tires, you can increase your traction. And one of the things that Musk had said about this is that it's going to help acceleration and cornering. And downforce will do that for you. So there you go. That's what I'm predicting it's going to be.
Beer in Portland.
Adiabatic cooling. Okay.
So yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. There you go. Whoa. Come on, Patrick. Really?
Yep.
Now,
First, find out.
first of all, huge respect that you went in and looked at patents. Seriously, and I mean this.
Absolutely.
You went in and looked at patents. You came up with some way they might sort of kind of use similar technology. Uh-oh, I don't hear anybody.
What?
We can hear you.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I don't hear Patrick.
He's waiting for the period.
For the butt.
Is he? No. But I think you're totally wrong.
There.
I think Elon shut off his mouth and said something that's, come on, fucking rocket thrusters, really? See, I don't. Patrick's talking. I don't hear him.
Patrick, you're muted.
Patrick, we can't hear you, my
somehow.
friend. I'm sorry. And
Russell-
we need to hear Patrick here.
Russell finally wins. He mutes Patrick.
For the record, I did not mute Patrick. That would be horrible. In fact, No, I don't even have that control in this.
But I mean, even Patrick calls out in his article some of the various challenges with this. The size of the tank,
Look,
and then refilling the tanks, and
the best part of that article is the Speed Racer reference.
yes,
Yes.
Patrick's like, nah, totally, man. The Mach 5 on its jets, its belly jets, leaping over other cars.
Mhm.
So
Okay, can you hear me now?
There we
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Okay.
It was Russell, wasn't it? Admit it.
No, it
Right.
was.
I think it was sabotage.
Mm-hmm.
We'll find out who's right in 2020.
Yeah, and that's honestly. I
Exactly.
mean, we'll see. And can we say right now, it'll be about 2022. Am I rude to say that? I don't think so.
The loser buys the other one the Roadster.
Yeah,
Oh,
there we go.
right. Yeah.
Wow, absolutely. Well, we get a roaster then. I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm marking down episode 57 to look up in the
That's
future.
it, right?
There we go.
Who owes
Yeah.
who
All I
a
gotta do
roadster?
All I got to do is tape a can of compressed air on there, and I'm winning.
Woo, yeah.
There you go.
It's nice and cool in here now. I don't know why. Oh, wait, because I filled the room with CO2. Mark has the next story about somebody else who might be losing a bet.
Shorters. We've heard this topic over and over again, shorters against the Tesla stock. But this article that we've linked to does a very good job of outlining what the shorting situation is and how it can really devastate people that are shorters if they're betting on a stock that is vastly overshorted, I guess is the word we would use. It's interesting that Tesla is the most shorted stock in the history of the stock exchange, I believe. They have something like 10.7 billion with a B dollars bet against it. And this, as Tesla starts to ascend from production hell, Elon has become more and more confident with his Twitter posts, with his media interviews about he believes they are getting out of this and they are going to be profitable. And he is now at no uncertain terms indicating that the shorters that are still betting against the company are going to be feeling a massive hit to their bottom dollars as Tesla climbs out of this. And the interesting thing about the shorting situation is that as a stock rises that you are shorted against, the people that are funding that difference start to ask the shorters for other amounts of cash to back up their position. And that means that the shorters now have to buy stock in order to fill that void or that margin call. And since a lot of people aren't selling the stock as it's rising, it gets harder and harder for the shorters to buy the stock, thus pushing up the price of the stock anyways. So you've got a situation where shorters are having to buy stock at more and more inflated rates that they can't afford in the first place. And as they're buying that stock, it's pushing the price up higher and higher as time moves along. So they're really between a rock and a hard place here, where they are at the point where a lot of them will lose everything. They'll absolutely lose everything. They will go bankrupt trying to just buy stock to shore up the position on their short purchase.
And so if you were one of those people that was a shorter and you didn't want to pay those exorbitant amounts of money to buy back that stock, what might you do?
Sabotage.
Sabotage.
That's got to be the title, huh?
Quickly. Everybody get your tin foil.
So
it's not tin foil, though, Russell.
Well, it does go over in the article that that is one of the things and they call these people FUDsters, FUD, which stands for fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And these people basically are throwing anything they can at the company, trying to get that uncertainty to happen. Because with uncertainty comes fluctuations in stock price, and that's exactly what they want.
Go to Seeking Alpha. Pull up some articles there, man.
Right.
Oh yeah, there's lots of FUDsters there.
Holy cow.
Yeah,
So-
I don't even read that anymore.
And the article also outlines, which was interesting, the largest owners of Tesla stock, a listing of the groups that own it and short it. So you've got this large list of people like T. Rowe Price Associates at the top of the list with 9.21%. And then works all the way down to like there's a list of about 15 or 20, and it works all the way down to like a Morgan Stanley, a company with 0.55%. So it's just interesting, this article, the explanation of what a short is, how the short people are being affected by a rising stock price, and really what they can do to get out of this. And it's a great read, and I certainly suggest anyone that's on this to read through it themselves and see the details, because it was enlightening.
Yeah, I haven't had time to go through it all, but I certainly will. I mean, there's a lot of words, so it's going to take me a very long time.
I respect Tony's honesty there. There's not enough pictures. Look, I get it. And Evan's point is absolutely fair. There's a lot of people have a lot of reasons to want to push the stock in one direction.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise, there's a much bigger group, one of whom has an enormous media bullhorn always that wants to push the stock in the other direction. So we can argue, like in general, I think the whole shorting thing is screwed up. It's not, I don't like it, but I'm still not feeling all that bad.
Yeah.
I don't feel like it's not like us against the world. You know what I mean? Like, look at the people who actually own Tesla. And that's not, these aren't like hippies. These aren't like, rogue billionaires that want to save the world. These are all big, huge capital investor companies, venture capital companies. These are people that believe that Tesla's going to do something, or at least think that owning the stock has some advantages for them financially.
Right. Yeah. So the companies that are on here, they're not just throwing their money in because they believe the hype. I mean, this is T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, Vanguard, BlackRock. There's, these are serious companies that do their homework. They look at the financials, they pull out the 10Ks, they go and they talk to the company, they make projections, they have their own internal estimates. They're not just reading Seeking Alpha and making a decision.
There is one company in particular that's missing from this list. And which really surprises me because Tesla does have a lot of moats.
Mr. Buffett.
Talking about Berkshire Hathaway.
Yeah, there's a Berkshire Hathaway thing.
Yeah. When Elon got involved in candy, he dropped out of that right away.
Yeah.
Nobody got that? Come on.
I don't get it.
All right, it was lame. I admit it.
No. Well, we have one final story, and we're running out of time, so it's going to have to be quick. Elon has done something very interesting. Tony, can you call up those pictures while I ramble a bit?
Wait, I forgot which one.
That's the final story for
spy
tonight.
shot.
The spy shots. Well, here the story is on Teslarati. Spy shots inside Tesla's giant test suggest assembly line build out in progress. Look, everybody knows this probably already. Elon has put an enormous tent. It's much more than a tent, but you see these at conventions and whatnot. These sort of long-term temporary structures that have a rigid framework and then a light skin on it. He's taken up some of Tesla's very valuable parking spaces, as we pointed out in the past. And this is where the third General Assembly line has been housed. They have thrown this together, depending on who you believe, in about 3 weeks. And they will be soon or are already assembling Model 3s on this line. There were some very interesting spy shots. Oh, thank you, Tony. I'm sorry. Let me put those up. There's some very interesting spy shots. Can you go to one of the outside of the structure?
Yeah, well, let me give everyone a frame of reference here.
Yeah, there we go. You can see, you've probably seen these things before, it's not a big top tent, with a stake and some stuff. This has like a lightweight metal structure and then a skin over it. Now, my last word on this is going to be the interesting thing about this is Elon has a temporary permit from Alameda County for 6 months to put up one of these structures. However, that permit doesn't include any utilities. In other words, according to the permit that Tesla has pulled for this structure, they're not allowed to wire it. They're like, they can run an extension cord.
A lot of extension cords.
A lot of extension cord.
That's what that is hanging down.
If you go through these pictures, you can see this bad boy is wired like yeah. Okay, enough of the video.
Just the row of lights across the top. Pretty obvious it's wired.
They can bring in some power packs.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's you can see that in different stages, and then there's some photos with the line is there, and there are vehicles that are on the line. Although in subsequent days pictures, we've noticed the vehicles haven't moved. So they might be there for photo purposes. Nonetheless, number one, hey, cheers for original thinking. Number two, boy, somebody on Alameda County is going to be pissed off about this really quick. And number three, can you build cars in your parking lot under a tent? I leave it to the panel to decide.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So I see a few of these structures on my commute in Hillsborough that are on Evergreen Road. I'm not sure whose they are, but there's a bunch of manufacturing there, and they've been there for years. So they're Tesla's not the first ones to use them. Other companies have used them. They're effective. They last for years. You can use them in all weather conditions. Not that California has any
weather conditions.
Yeah. So the whole it's a tent. They're building in a tent. It's just P.T. Barnum Musk at it again. Ha ha ha. It's just crap.
Well, I don't mean to overstress the word tent. That's the easiest thing, to describe it as. It's definitely a rigid structure. I think the permitting issue is interesting, but it will be interesting to see what Elon actually does accomplish building in here.
And of course, the thought was that Elon had mentioned some time ago about the third production line. And people were saying, there's only 2 production line. What is he talking about? There's no other room to put a third production line. And obviously, this is what he was talking about, was pushing the production line out into the parking lot under a temporary structure. So again, this could be the push for the Model 3, getting closer and closer, moving up scale. This could be all part of it. We know that we believe that the Model 3s are going to now start flowing into the U.S. for July 1st in the new quarter. And this could be part of the plan to push out even more to get underneath the federal tax incentive, more and more production towards it.
Yep.
Well, and more to Evan and Patrick's point, isn't this the dual motor line?
That's what I saw, that they have their first performance car built, and I thought it was on this production line.
I did too. Yeah, Patrick. So we're both.
There was a picture. There was a picture that Elon shared with it, and it looked like it was on this production line because the car was partially outside.
Huh.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that permit's only 6 months. Who knows? They could get it extended. They might have applied to have it wired, and they just haven't got that part of it yet. So I don't think you can read too much into that. But since this is our tinfoil hat show, I'm just going to go crazy. Yeah, let's just do it. So 6 months is how long it's going to take for the Boring Company to drill a tunnel under there, and they're just going to move the whole factory down. Instead of going up, they're going to go down. That's where they're going to make it.
Yeah. In the Bay Area, that is an amazingly great idea. Building underground. I mean,
right? Yeah, land's expensive. Go down.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Can we spare 1 second for some sympathy for our brothers and sisters who already had really horrible parking in Fremont?
Parking? And now have lost more parking spots. Yes.
Where are those poor bastards parking?
Maybe they need to bore a underground parking garage.
That's right.
That's what they need to bore. Yes. Parking.
And install the loop-to-loop roller coaster.
That I would ride.
Yes.
I would ride. Well, let's do some shout outs and get out of here. Evan, just because I'm picking on you, man.
Okay. I'm going to shout out to my friend Chris Davis, who used my referral code and got his Tesla Model S. He's a fellow ER physician friend of mine. I need 2 more to hit 5, folks. So if anybody needs a referral code, hook me up.
What do we not tell them what it is? Or
no, they just have to find me.
They have to find Evan. Find Evan and ask him what his.
I'm on Facebook. I'm everywhere.
Yeah.
If you want it, you can find me. I'm not a big advertiser.
There you go. Okay, because Evan wants 2 more, so we can get that signature Powerwall.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, baby. Mr. Connor.
Yeah, I'll shout out and say use Evan's referral code so that he can go to the next Tesla event with me. Because I've got my invite, so it's going to be. I don't know what it's going to be yet, but maybe Model Y. Who knows?
That'd be cool.
It should be.
That would be a blast.
Wow, yeah, both of you guys at a debut event,
right? Wouldn't it be sweet?
Yeah,
right.
I don't even know what to think. I don't even know.
We do a live Tesla Life. You guys could sponsor us.
There you go. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God. I think I totally just got played. Sponsored them. Oh my God. Yeah. That's it. Tony Schaefer.
Hey, shout out to everybody in the chat room. Thanks, guys. Always fun hanging out with you all. Did we get a
title? Here's what I have written down. Waiting for my tan interior and tinfoil hat.
All right, that'll do. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah.
That's
How
all I
about
got.
bored while waiting for all that?
I'll write that down. We'll see if that's not too long. I like to keep those titles short, but I figured we'd get them both in there. Anything else? So cheers to everybody in the chat room. Thank you.
Yeah, I think there were 19 or so at one point tonight. Yeah. Great turnout, guys. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, right on. Chat room. Anything else, Tony?
No. That's it.
Then I'm going to go to Mark.
Please follow us on Twitter at The Tesla Life, on Facebook, The Tesla Life #1. And of course, most importantly, please press that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Help us out with another follower. It really helps us out. We would really appreciate it. And we thank you for doing so.
Can we tell you how much we appreciate it? Just this week, the Tesla Life went over 400 subscribers.
Very good. Very good.
402 right now. Thank you so much for that support. That is huge.
And one other question I want to throw out is, does anybody know, I've got the word back. I called Tesla myself to find out about a referral code for Model 3 owners. And Tesla told me that they do not give them out to Model 3 owners at all. So I wanted to put the word out to people watching the show. Have you ever heard of it? Has anyone talked to Tesla themselves, and what excuse were they given that no code has been given out? So I just wanted to put that out there.
Elon has said killing that program soon.
Yeah. That's almost another show, but you can't really blame the way this thing's been manipulated. It went totally against the intent, and that's a shame.
Right. So
which is why I don't advertise mine on here. I
get it, and without commenting on the issue, that was something that Elon said that program was ending at some point soon. That's probably why they didn't extend it.
Okay. So we shall see if that continues or not.
Absolutely. As always, I want to thank Lee Moon for our theme music. He performed, composed, and allows us to play it for free. Thank you, Lee Moon, for that. Thanks to everybody in the chat room. Thanks to the panel. Wow. I mean, 5 of us today. Ooh, it's crazy.
Yeah. It was the donuts.
It was the donuts.
Here for Timbits.
See, I would have come last week for Timbits. There you go. And of course, thanks to all of you for watching. Tune in next week and find out what is going on in the Tesla life.